Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fastest way to CTV distribution and monetization. My name is Josh Tucker. I will be your host with the most, I guess, as we kind of traverse this webinar. I am the Director of Digital Engagement here at TVU Networks. I have about 6 years of broadcast experience, starting as a TV reporter and then ultimately ending as the executive producer of digital content before about 3 months ago joining TVU Networks. So I'm still pretty new here. And I'm real excited to be able to learn about the products with you guys. I'll be joined with Adam Henning. He's the Senior Director of Content Marketing Communications here at TVU Networks, but he has dozens of years of experience in TV news, really starting as a photographer and then ending his tenure at multiple locations as a news director. And then our resident tech expert, Curtis Stanley. He's the VP Solutions and Engagement. Sorry, he's the VP of Solutions Engagement Global. He's got a really fancy title, and he'll be able to really run us through the demo later on. But he was previously the Senior Manager of Engineering for Charter Communications. Now, I want to give you guys a brief kind of rundown about what we're going to be talking about today. Now, it shouldn't be any surprise that traditional cable viewership has been in serious decline for some time, but where is that audience going, right? So we'll be kind of covering where that viewership has migrated to and how some media companies and some streamers and things of that nature are kind of already started to take advantage, and they figured out how to monetize in this new kind of new age digital space we're in. And also, I think really one of the most important things we're going to be going over is that Curtis is going to be giving us a walkthrough of TVU Channel and TVU Channel Plus and showing you exactly just how easy it is to get it set up. Now, there will be a Q&A session at the end. Now, the chat is currently turned off, but if you like move your mouse around a little bit, that kind of at the bottom, it's going to pop up with a Q&A section. You can put your questions in at any time, and I'll be kind of monitoring those, and I'll be selecting some lucky winners, so to speak, and they'll be able to get their questions answered at the end. But again, so 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15, depending on how we're rocking and rolling, we'll be able to answer as many questions as possible. And then at the end, we're going to have our white paper download that's going to have everything explained for you for TVU Channel and TVU Channel Plus. And then I really want to go over some kind of housekeeping here also, and some terms you guys might be familiar with or not familiar with. Now, it's kind of like the situation where you might have not seen, you might have met somebody so many times, you don't know their name, and now you're too afraid to ask, right? So OTT, I remember the term didn't make a lot of sense when I first started in the digital space, and CTV. So I'm going to go over what these mean because it's really critical that we understand those before we kind of start talking. So OTT, which stands for over the top media, right? It's viewed, it's the content, right? And it's viewed via a CTV device. So if you're watching on your Hulu, on your mobile device, on your Xbox, and your PS5, whatever it may be, right? You are watching OTT content. Now, the connected TV or the CTV refers to any type of device that boasts video streaming abilities. So that includes smart TVs, the Xbox, the PS5s, your phone, if you have an app, a Fire Stick, Roku, and it's changing daily, and the atmosphere for it and is just changing so rapidly. But again, all of those are CTV. But kind of enough about me. I could talk for hours and hours about all the cool stuff we have going on. I do want to go ahead and bring in Adam Henning to kind of really dive down into the data and kind of show where the digital space and traditional viewership is heading towards. So Adam, thank you so much for joining us, but I want to get right into it. Adam, what do we know right now? Not 3 years ago, not 5 years also, like what do we know right now about the traditional viewing of channels as of today?
Sure, and since I have decades of experience, which makes me sound older than perhaps I am, although as I added up, that's actually more than fair. I'll throw back to newspaper, right? And the sky is falling is what we know about what's happening for traditional viewing channels right now, because the viewers are all moving from traditional broadcast to OTT options, right? So when we look at percent of people that currently subscribe to cable, like as of today or April anyhow, right? It's 6 out of every 4 adults. Not even 10 years ago, that was 9 out of 10. To have more than 10% that wasn't cable or satellite based in a market was bizarre, right? Everyone was getting their stuff that way, and all the advertising was done that way. However, as more and more people move, the dollars move with them, especially when we know that in the next 3 years, that 60%, that 6 out of 10 becomes only 1 out of 4 have cable. And most of those people are going to be a lot older than what most advertisers actually covet, right? They mainly want 25-54, as you heard me preach many times in the newsroom, 18 to 25, 18-34, 25-54, ideally female, definitely adult. That's where all the money is. 65 plus, not quite as much, but that's who is still on traditional broadcast.
Okay, so streaming is obviously making a huge impact, right? Or else we wouldn't even be here talking today. But what is the latest development kind of on these streaming channels, this new age tech almost? And maybe it's not even that new age anymore, right?
Right. Well, I mean, the biggest thing, and it's not even that new, it's just people are becoming aware of it now, I suppose, on the broadcast side and in other spaces, is that most people who are watching OTT are not doing it on this. Right. Most people assume that OTT viewership, especially in broadcast spaces, assume that OTT viewership is taking place on a tablet or a gaming device. Most people are doing it on their television, YouTube, Hulu. Hulu's a no-brainer. Netflix, again, right through their Apple TV Plus. All those things are going right through big TVs. But the OTT products like YouTube, people don't think of as going on the big screen, but increasingly they are. More than 8 in 10 watch that there, and they're not watching for 30 seconds and moving on. This isn't a temporary threat or, a tiny time burglar of linear viewing. The average adult who watches YouTube is now watching for 30 minutes and not just a single content category. People used to make fun of the cat videos that people would watch, right? But they're not watching cat videos or watching tornado videos. They're watching cat videos, tornado videos, cooking videos, skateboarding videos. They're watching such a diverse set of anything that piques their interest across there. And it's all put in front of them with endless opportunities, which is quite different than a traditional, this is what's airing right now. And then in a few minutes, this will be airing. And then an hour later, you can watch that. So Gen Zs and millennials, they're all watching it on TV as well. The younger the person is, their use of a television is strictly for OTT. Chances of a cable subscription next to none. And for them, the second most popular screen is an actual television over mobile. So that's what's happening, but it's really also cutting into, naturally, as that grows, the number of pay TV households. When we show that declining on down, you see the 60% there dropping even more. But the dollars follow the eyeballs, right? And those key demos. So you see in 2020, connected TV ad spending, we wasn't even $14 billion. It's gonna be $100 billion by 2030. So, that's a tremendous difference in where the money's going, and broadcast has to find a way to recoup those dollars in a way that print never could. Print tried to go ahead and be basically print online to keep up with television, and they couldn't do it. And so broadcast is facing a similar challenge. As the people leave broadcast for connected, digital will be the star. I mean, this just came out less than a month ago, that double digit declines in broadcast, which is no surprise given political cycles and stuff like that. And then OTT is where all that money goes, because you can directly target individual people significantly more effectively than you can through broadcasting. It's narrow one-to-one advertising. So that's what's really going to happen over the next couple of years. And, it's critical that broadcasters figure out how they're going to cash in on all this, or at least be in the game.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point there. And I don't want to throw you under the bus, but for anyone who doesn't know, is that we used to work together, right? Like, you were my news director for multiple years, right? And one thing that you talked about a lot was that if we were talking about YouTube strategies, I think I brought Twitch up to you at one point, and these digital streaming things, is that, we can't make money on it, right? Like, how do we make money? How do we sell it, right? So I think there is kind of a viewpoint in a lot of the traditional space, is that broadcasters can't cash in on this OTT, this connected TV world, but they can, right?
Yeah. And broadcast a lot of times is limited, or at least was in my experience myself too. When you say, hey, we need to expand to Twitch, we need to expand to these spaces, we need to be in more places. We think of it in broadcast traditionally from a broadcast perspective, that expanding, launching another channel, expanding our reach isn't a couple of $1,000 adventure. It's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars invested to see if you can maybe make some money. And the risk is you're diluting the same ad pool. What broadcast really needs to be able to do to make money and can is be everywhere. And the broadcasters that have been successful in making money digitally are everywhere. So linear, you got that 90% of that audience at one point watching your one spot and you're ringing that one register. In digital, you've got a gazillion registers on a gazillion different platforms where you're hopefully ringing a register. It's not going to be for as much as the linear, but because there's so many more and so much more direct, it's actually can be far more valuable. And that's what people have figured out. And certainly we have. And the good news is that people who've moved to digital aren't looking for something that broadcast isn't prepared or really good at doing, right? Broadcast is incredibly good at live, but the number one thing that people watching streaming products that are watching OTT, CTV, what they want is live content and the ability to get live content. In fact, more than video on demand, as a person who loves to, watch VOD, because the only thing I watch live in real time is sports for the most part. I would think that VOD is what everyone's doing, but the growth has been more in live than VOD. And I guess proof on that would be, if you're watching Thursday night football, you're watching that on Amazon, right? You're watching that OTT now because they also realize that it's got to be able to be live and to be able to seamlessly switch between live and recorded content is something that broadcasters are uniquely good at and the rest of the world is not. So when you see, those NFL games or the limited live content that's available digitally, through an OTT channel, next to never will you see them go back and forth from live to recording and things like that. Breaking news, cut in and be able to go back to what was already scheduled. But that doesn't happen ever on your Netflixes, your Hulus, not because they don't want to at times. It's because they don't. It's just not their wheelhouse. There is a wheelhouse for that for broadcast and opportunities. And they're certainly well equipped to do so without adding resources. If I'm Hulu and I decide I want to cut in live with an anchor saying something, that isn't free. I don't have that infrastructure. TV stations already have all of the content. They already have all of the talent. They already have all the resources all in-house. And I would argue every content creator does. The person who's the person who's doing a YouTube show from home or Twitch show, heck, they're making more than me. Those people can go ahead and do these things incredibly easily, far easier than even behemoths like, Hulu and Apple TV can.
Now, I want to kind of go back in time for myself, right? I want to go 6 months ago to when I was, an executive producer of digital content, right? And you come to me and you say, hey, we're going to start streaming in all these places. We're going to have, a channel for X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be, right? I can imagine that it would be like, okay, great. Like, we don't have the staffing, right? Do we have to hire reporters? Do we have to hire a sales team? Like, how do we get this kind of off the ground running? So it sounds very daunting, right? But it isn't. Like, you don't need that stuff. Like, you can do it right now if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, you think about having Scotty triggers inserted and things that you need to have in a single platform to advertise on every device and every platform. Yeah, that stuff's terrifying. And finding a way to geo-target your content and your commercials so that, look, I mean, I'm 51, married with 2 kids. A nightclub's probably not the best thing to advertise to me. Yeah, you're 29. Seems like a better ad. They're better hitting me with a minivan and you with like the nightclub commercial. And that's exactly what can happen, right? And we don't necessarily think of it that way. But the thing is that it is easy because channel was created, which is a lot of what we're here to talk about today is channel and channel plus. And I'll get into those differences in a second. But it was created to make it where you can easily create, manage, and monetize as many digital channels for OTA, OTT, whatever you want to do with your content, right? To be able to create as many channels as you want and monetize them and put them everywhere you want. In the same way, OpenAI, we've been talking about it like left and right on different calls and how cool it is. And everyone's creating the app to name pets, and you can just type in, create an app that generates pet names. And instantly it does all the coding for you. Channel along the same lines, you can say, I've got all this content. I need a channel that can play all of that content on this kind of schedule, monetize it, let me cut in live at these times. And I don't want to have to know any of that. All I want to know how to do is make content. And yeah, I can work an Outlook calendar. And if you can do that, and that's what Curtis is going to show us, if you can do that, that's what Channel and Channel Plus do, and make sure that it's not daunting at all. And then on the Channel Plus side, it makes sure that every single spot is sold. So when you go back to talking about the reality when we were at the station and you wanted to add channels or add, hey, what do we do on Twitch? And I'm like, man, we can't sell the ads we have now. Because as a salesperson at a television station, when I can get $2,000 for a 30-second ad on air or $100 for a digital ad, where am I spending most of my time trying to sell when I get 20% commission? Well, if I'm smart, it's going to be on the higher ticket item, right? That's less of a lift to try and sell. Well, on this, Channel Plus goes ahead and sells every single spot for you, which allows experimentation, allows you to create channels at no cost, knowing it'll be paid for with the spots, and you're allowed to take all the content you already have and do more with it. So it really is neat that way.
All right. So I went back in time, right? But I want you to change hats for a second, right? So go back to Adam Henning, the news director, right? If you are talking to other news directors or broadcasters or whatever it may be, right? What key considerations do you think they need to be aware of that this might solve for them, right? But what if they're going to be implementing these type of channels? Like, what do they need to know?
Well, as a news director, I wanted more channels strictly because so much content that we did was one and done. You go and you spend a week, if I was lucky enough to have a week to give someone to spend on some hard-hitting, amazing story, and maybe it ran in the late news the next morning just because we were greedy. But no repeats is sort of the mantra of TV news, right? So most content is one and done. So you always want a place to be able to put stuff so that it's not one and done. That's why I would have wanted a channel instead as a key consideration originally, until what you and I went through here in Memphis, and then friends of mine went through all across the country in Sinclair, which is, a ransomware attack at the station. And we went off the air for, it felt like a year, but I know it was only like 5 or 6 days that there was nothing. And then by the time we get everything back up and running, we were crippled on the news side because we had no internal network to use, because the truly virus wiped out everything, not just at our station, but like at all the Cox properties. And then not even 6 months later, the exact same thing happened to all the Sinclair stations, and 100+ stations go off the air because a virus gets through everything. Well, what channel does, I would have made a channel, right, of all my great videos that people can see a second time. The better use, frankly, given the price points of these things, is a completely redundant channel to protect the station, not just from bad actors and viruses and stuff like that. That's happened, as massive and millions of dollars as it cost, right? That's happened like 2 or 3 times in the US on a big scale. Globally, maybe 5 total. But towers falling happens, Curtis could tell you as a former television station engineer, towers go down every couple of years, things happen that go wrong. If you're completely backed up to where you literally from the house hit the space bar once you log in, and you've launched a mirror of the schedule that was set to go with all the triggers for every commercial still there, every live hit from your station still there, from newscasts, everything's there. And then if you needed a network, by the way, even though this isn't about the TVU one, I don't know if you have one in your office. I've got one around here somewhere I can pick up. But the TVU one backpack can set up its own network because it's got a router function in it. And so we could have 200 up, 150 down if we wanted, sitting in the newsroom, had a whole network back up, the whole station back up, literally most of that done from the house without having to go in, and saved what was an insanely chaotic time for all. So that to me is a key consideration, right? It disaster proofs the station. But more than that, the ability again to do what broadcast does best is what really impressed me with it and got me to leave broadcast to come work on this. Because the ability to break in live, instantly switch programs, allows you to win breaking news while not irritating viewers. We could crawl across the station in the middle of a soap opera, that there's a threat at the courthouse and we're live on our OTT channel XYZ, go there now. and save how many phone calls? Because when you step on a soap opera, the phones ring. But you have an obligation to provide quality content. You can do both and monetize both and not lose anyone. So that's cool. And then also it takes in signals from anywhere. I mean, it truly is a master control switcher in the cloud. It's everything. So every single person that has the TVU Anywhere app on their phone, which, my stations, we were live view with the last one. We had the live view app on most phones. It didn't work everywhere as well as I feel like this does, but regardless, you can get every single person in your station or your audience is able to go live through this. So you don't miss a beat. It's no different than you were up and fully functioning. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do we have any, I know you've been a really big proponent of channels since you started here, right? Like what like real world use cases are there? Like my mind kind of goes crazy because I was a Twitch streamer at one point, right? Like I've kind of dabbled in some other verticals and things of that nature. I've got all these friends that I'm kind of talking about these stuff with. What are the real world cases that people can use?
Examples of people who are using it or places that have used it already. I mean, this was built in partnership with Univision for their 24 hours, where it came from to a certain extent. Looking for a way to do 24/7 news online. We had already set up sort of the infrastructure backbone for Fox's Live Now that they do that's 24/7. And this was sort of the next gen of that, to be able to really run a 24/7 channel that didn't require, again, back to skill sets, a gazillion programmers, a team of engineers, a bucket of hardware, $1 million server. It required a laptop and the content they already had. And so they were able to take what was 17 people working on something, redeploy them to make the company more money in other places, and make this thing manageable by just a handful of people. So them, of course, Fox, because we worked with them on other stuff, all the Fox O&Os, several local television stations, but it's not just big, huge people. There's people like, I'm going to blank on his first name. I think it's John. I'm so sorry, John, at Central Kentucky TV. Which is literally a person who felt like where he lives in Central Kentucky, there needed to be a TV station and there was not. So he went ahead and it's basically him. And he's got some buddies at a local radio station where he put a camera and they take time up and he'll use his phone and go live from high school football games and have 300 people at a time watching local high school football games that he's doing from the sideline with his phone because he's able to break in live. I mean, this is a person. And he's able to do it. So there's stuff like that, right? That are real examples of large scale and small scale, all being able to run channel effectively for themselves.
All right. So here's I guess it's $1 million question, but in hindsight, I guess it's really not, right? Like what is implementing these channels? What's it going to cost? What's it going to set them back as the news directors or whoever it is start looking towards budgets of 2023, which might already be set in stone, honestly.
Right. So you get these two servers that are $1 million each. And once those are paid for, you're much good. No, I'm kidding. There's literally no infrastructure cost at all. Well, if you already have the infrastructure, I have the infrastructure. When I learned channel, I've got a MacBook and I've been running 7 of them for the past better than a year at this point, with no crash, no issue, continuously. So what it costs is either $19.50 a month or nothing. And that doesn't matter if you want to have 10,000 channels, one channel, or somewhere in between. And how many places you output is up to you as well. So on the channel model, it's $19.50 a month. All your content goes out 24/7 live. You control all the inventory, use it as you want. I mean, Curtis will show you graphic overlays and all the sponsorship stuff you could do. You can sell that, not sell that, knock yourself out. That's yours. $19.50 a month, you have a channel. And it goes everywhere you want it to be. And then I know right here it says $750 a month per output, but right now we're doing it at $375. So you get 2 outputs. And even if you want to be redundant, right, and have 2 Twitch channels, if we wanted to have the Josh channel and the Adam channel for the same exact thing we're doing right now, right, but have 2 of them to see which does better, we can at really no difference in price, right, to go ahead and get that done. Now on the Channel Plus side, there's no cost, no $19.50 a month, and we can kick you out as many places as you want to be seen, and we will pay you 5 cents per hour per view. So that little nickel model, most people are used to, 5 cents per thousand or, models like that. This is viewers per hour. So those nickels add up super, super fast in that model. Like, for example, like $1 million annually is less than 2,500 simultaneous viewers an hour. And you think back to the TV station where we'd have on a bad day 250,000 viewers on the website, and on a good day 10 times that, right? 2-3 million. That's a fairly, and time on site was what, 20-30 minutes? Like, those nickels start to rack up pretty good in those situations. So in a TV station setting like that, and I had it and I saw those nickels pouring in, I'd say, you know what, I'm going to sell these myself and hope that I could, because I could probably maybe get a little more. But $2 million a year, $3 million, I think is what we calculated we would have gotten at our station off of this, with no one having to sell anything. Man, that's tough to talk a GM off of. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
of course.
you need to instead let me go and try and have sales sell this. And they say, yeah, keep creating the content. We're going to take our millions of dollars. So regardless, it's cool all the way around product wise.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for taking this time to talk to us. I'm going to kick you off the screen now, right? And I want to bring in our resident tech expert that I kind of teased at the beginning, Curtis Stanley. Curtis, go ahead and walk us through how simple this is to set up.
Oh, it really is. So everything that you're going to see on here is the result of direct feedback from the users, right? My background is engineering. So most engineering stations, most engineering groups say this is how it's going to be. Well, that's not how it is anymore nowadays. It's feedback. It's the users have ownership of the product. So what you're going to see here with Channel is amazing. So I'm going to screen share here. You're logging into a browser. One of my favorite things to do at NAB is, the NAB is all smoke and mirrors, right? You've got a booth, you've got all these rec servers behind everything. You show something and everybody's like, okay, this is really cool, but it's really, really, it's using everything you've got in the rack room or everything you've got back there. I love opening up our cabinets, because all that you're going to find in our cabinets is my laptop sitting there, because everything else is truly in the cloud. So you simply, like I said earlier, you log into a browser. So you come into a workbench page, and from there you can create a channel. It's as easy as click and create a channel. From that instance, it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to get the channel actually spun up, right? Start the output modules and get everything ready to go for you to go into it and start doing things. From there, right, you can go in and do some settings. You can give it a name, you can give it a thumbnail image, you can tell it the video format, you can create an output, and advanced settings. Those of you that are accustomed to newsroom systems that have weeks of administrative training on how to do things, literally, I turned on just about every feature we have here, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 total features. And some of those are just simply a box that you would check. The ability to do a repeat, the ability to modify the EPG with specific information, the ability to do some zero duration events inside of your schedule, the ability to, here's one of my favorites, the ability to take your channel, right, and mirror your linear channel's broadcast day. So your digital team's operating on the same aspect as your linear team. So same date, time format, 24 hours or 12 hours. All of these settings literally takes minutes to set up. One of the more advanced things we can do in some environments is bring in your external drives, your own cloud buckets, or you can have content delivered from third-party providers like MCP or your Telestream system. We can help you configure those to drop them right into a folder inside of your channel in the cloud. So that takes a little, you can't do that within minutes, but that's a little more of the advanced settings, but we're there to help you because it's a service. So once you've got your first couple of minutes, of get everything ready to go, give it the output and output type and whatnot, you simply go in. You'll have 2 buttons. It'll be offline mode or start output mode. Click enter, go into start output mode. Again, 3 to 5 minutes for the modules to spin up, and 2 tabs. 2 tabs, there's a playout tab, and there's a scheduling tab. All right. As Adam mentioned, if you can build an Outlook calendar, you can build a schedule, right? The schedule, you can tell an event to recur Monday through Friday, 7 days a week, custom recurring. You can see I've got some Scotty decorated events here. I just I grab something. You're going to get some media on how to do things, right? You can drop and drag those right into the schedule. As easy as let's drop this here. All right, and there you go. And then I dropped it on the wrong day. Let me move it over. This is a small piece of media. I can zoom in, move it, save it, done, and it's there. I can go into an event here, right? You know what? Does not repeat. You know what? I want it to repeat daily, even while it's live. Let's see if this works. It may not while it's live. I will be honest, of all the testing that I have ever done, that is not one that I've ever tried to recur an event while it was live. So no, it didn't seem to like that. So, but let's just go into this event and tell it, okay, I want to repeat this event. I want to repeat this event daily, save. All right, and in just a minute, it'll populate out the schedule for 7 days a week for about 31 days and whatnot. And it does take a minute when I'm inside of a screen share. So, so on the left-hand side, while it's building that out, let's go back over here and look. And so I've got all of my live sources, right? I can bring in just about any type of external stream. And we haven't found a stream yet that we can't bring in. Anything with the TVU ecosystem, right? All of that is readily available and can be added into your channel. So you can use any of your grid sources, any of your packs, any of your TVU anywheres, any not yet your RPSs, but we are working to bring in RPS streams as well. So and RTMP push streams. So you can bring in all of these features. You can build templates, right? Here's program templates. So those of you that are short and long form, you know, most of your content, timed out. There we go. Sorry about that. You know that your 30-minute content that's being delivered comes into 22 minutes. Well, you can have a program template, and the timing sheet can be delivered to the channel as well. And it'll automatically populate out a 30-minute grid segment. So now I've got all of this other information. You can see I recurred these down here. And if I go out the next week and go down to the time, there they are. They continue to go. They're all there readily available. I can go in and I can actually edit a single event. So let me go in here and tell it, okay, I want to make this one an underplay clip, and I want to do, I'm just going to do this one, grab it and click save. Now it's going to prompt me this event, all the following events, or all the events that are forward and after. So anything, so I have that capability as well. Flexibility. It's all based on flexibility. Let's just do this event, confirm, and there we go. And if I go back into the event, you will see, is it this one? Yeah, it's assigned it now an underplay clip to play when it goes to a commercial break. So you don't go to black or you're not sitting there with a frozen frame. Anyways, back to program templates. We have that capability, and then I can build a schedule template as well. So I can just simply grab a schedule and drop it in there if I prefer to operate in that methodology. We can import some schedules. We have a mapping tool that can take your linear channel schedule and drop them right into the platform. We have two different modes: a playout mode this way, and then an event mode, which is basically event to event to event to event. It depends on how you prefer to operate. Both of them work just as you would expect. So now we've gone through the scheduling side. Let's jump over to the playout side, right? And the playout side is similar to a master control. It doesn't require a specialized operator. You get a preview of the playlist, what's going on right now. You get the output view. You can see I'm green with this event. It's giving me countdown timers to the next event, when the next Scuddy Splice is going to happen, and then it's going to go into a timer. Now, if I look here, I'm going to see that in this event, I'm just got Scuddy only. So you're going to see this freeze. But I've sent a Scuddy message down to the downstream ad servers, and they're going to play 2 minutes of break or 3 minutes of break, whatever I've told it to do. I can do it manually if I needed to. One of my favorite things here, though, is with channel, right? I can view anything, preview anything. I can preview the media and whatnot. But over here, TVU Anywhere, right? This is how easy it is to do breaking news on your channel. So you can see it's a QR code. Take a screenshot of that. I can text it to somebody. I can email it to somebody. And all they have to do on their phone is download the TVU Anywhere app, right? And here it is on my phone, nothing special. And I can scan, it's going to open up a window that says scan the app, right? Give it a name. And it'll take just a second. I get a message that says token pair. I'm going to success message sharing the channel in just a second.
And anyone you share that with is able to be live in your channel at your discretion. Obviously, they
It's your
can
discussion.
pop up.
Right.
You're able to take anyone from anywhere.
Exactly. So here's my phone. My phone has now been paired to the channel, right? There's nothing special, literally less than a minute. So now I can't preview it yet. I do get a thumbnail, right? It tells me that right now. We're still working on that methodology. But so I'm in a commercial break, but holy cow, there's a cat in a tree. I'm going to take that breaking source. All right. Now this will take just a second and I may have to, it may not do it. There we go. And I've switched and now I'm live on the channel. Now I haven't released the ad stream, the ad servers downstream. They're still going, but when it ends in 1:43, everybody's going to see me. Well, now Adam's screaming down the newsroom side, hey, ingest room, record the breaking news, record the breaking news, record the breaking news. Unfortunately, the ingest operator has gone to lunch or is in the break room making a bucket of microwave popcorn or microwaving some mackerel to, upset the entire news department because, that's really what happens. So I'm sitting here and now I'm live on the channel, right? Now, as soon as I went live on the channel, as soon as I was on the output portion of the channel, I started an automatic secondary record of this event, right? I've got it. It's in the channel. It's available for me to do things with. I can download it. I can replay it. I can drop it back in the channel. I can trim it without non-destructive editing within the channel. I can put it back, I can do things with it and it's available for things. So now I have saved the news department. So I'm going to go ahead and take the playlist back, which is going to put it back
Curtis,
to the frozen.
And to be clear, when you say you started a recording, you don't physically have to start a recording. It automatically does it. And the recording's there, right? Or did you have to actually trigger it to record?
I did not have to do anything. So it automatically does it. So you can see today is 12/8. So I'm going to go to 12/8, 12:08, right? I'm just going to do a search here. All right. And you're going to see here's Curtis's iPhone replay right here, 12:08. And this was the one here. So I was on for 59 minutes. I can preview it. There it is. Look at that. It's up there. Or I can bring it into a trimmer here. And you can see I can upload the clip back to channel. I can mark it in. I can mark it out. I can download the clip. I can save the news department because my cloud-based channel did an automatic recording because my digital team carried it to air. And so I haven't lost the first 3 minutes or upcut the president, or I haven't missed the explosion of the building from the fire. I've got all of it there readily available to put back into channel.
Now, that's customizable, right? Like when it comes to editing, you can change the in and out points and things of that nature, right? Like that entire thing is
in and out. Yeah, and you can do it as many times as you want to because you're not destructive. It's non-destructive. You're just, for those of you, it's like an EDL timeline editor, except in this case, we're doing it with an HLS stream and you never touch the original content media. So other sides, we built this so that with feedback from non-technical operators, right? The first group, traffic schedulers, that's all they did. So they said, well, what happens if I get confused? Well, we know that happens, we built it for everybody. So we put in an emergency switch button, right? You can load a file behind it, right? And you can tell that file to loop and continuously loop if you wanted to. So, oh my gosh, I clicked something, I clicked twice, I clicked a third time. I don't know exactly what I do. Simply click the emergency switch. And there you go. I'm on air with whatever file I've got loaded. And so it will play until it's told to switch back. There we go. And so gives the operators a chance to take a second of pause. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I now know where I'm at. And I can click playlist. I'm back on the playlist. Now, if you noticed, the playlist continued moving for both breaking news and emergency switch. Playlist continues, doesn't stop, doesn't restart the file over like most cloud providers do. It's an actual join in progress. I can do more complex things like I can tell it to wait on an event, continue to replay an event until I receive a SCUDdy program start from my newscast or from an event that I'm waiting on.
And again, it's fully customizable, right? Like
it's completely customizable. I can make it as simple as I want, or I can make it as complex as I want. And so I have graphics capability. I have, lower thirds. I have logos. I have advanced graphics with third-party providers like Singular and Flowrix. We can bring them into the channels, and you have this advanced graphics playlist all in an iframe. So it's based on simplicity. It's based on your needs. It's future proof because you don't have to replace hardware in your rack room. You can build it, as Adam was saying, we could actually bring in your schedule, keep it 24 hours behind or keep it the same day. You could stream it as an as an ISSP stream or any stream to one of our transceivers, decode it, route it into your master control switcher, or route it out to your transmitter, .1, .2, .3. And so you're either on air, you've got a secondary channel, you can do object model testing. You could work with your graphics team, bring them in, show them what their new graphics package looks like. It's so many possibilities. It goes all the way from A to Z.
And you can put it anywhere, right?
And
And
you can put it
we
anywhere.
have a TVU Anywhere app, right? But I feel like this also, you could TVU Anywhere also for the for the channels as well. Well, Curtis, thank you so much, but I do want to make sure that we have enough time for questions. So again, just thank you for really walking through that. And I can tell you that I have been on the flip side of setting up these type of channels, right? And it can be months and months of kind of walking through these processes and things of that nature. And to be able to see you drag and drop content so easily is so refreshing if I was to be a user. So again, thank you so much for that. But I do want to go ahead and jump right into our first question as I pull these up real quick. Okay, so somebody said they arrived a little late to the webinar, and I guess Adam, this is for you, right? They're asking, what's the difference between channel and channel plus?
Sure. Happy to answer that. Hopefully I've unmuted myself. And I also went ahead and pulled up, hopefully you can see it, the scan for the white paper. Folks are running tight on time and want to go ahead and snag that. That's up. But no, the difference between channel and channel plus is really the primary difference between those two things is really the pay structure. Channel plus costs you nothing and you risk nothing, frankly, because we cover all costs with that. You have a channel. You send it where you want it to go, and we pay 5 cents per viewing hour that's consumed. Channel, on the other hand, we pay you nothing. You pay us $19.50 a month, and you keep every single dollar of revenue that comes in. It's where the pass through. It's your channel completely and totally. We're hands off. We manage none of it beyond our support, obviously, to make sure you're successful.
Next question we have, which I think this is a really good question here, is how does a home viewer tune into a TV generated channel? So how do they actually, how are they able to watch it?
Well, it's all dependent on where you want to output it. So the channel owner determines where it goes, whether they want to output it to their own website, their own app. If you've got, you want to go and put yourself on Tubi, Vizio, and we have relationships with all these folks and can help make the connection, but ultimately our outputs go where you want them to go. Much like at your television station, your transmitter signal goes wherever you're sending it, so that's exactly where it is. If you're sending it to a cable company, the cable company gets it. If you're sending it, to an OTT platform, that's who gets it. We can put it into gaming apps, you name it. It can go everywhere and anywhere simultaneously, by the way.
Now, we have a question about if it's available in other countries, right? So can you talk about where it's available right now and if there's talk of kind of expanding it as well?
It's we have channels up and running in India, Barcelona. We did a whole bunch in throughout Europe, actually, England, China. So yes, it's global. It works anywhere in the world. And what again, back to way back, being able to geofence allows us to block off any kind of rights issues. And again, I know as the person with the content what the rights limits are on that content. So it's very easy for me to say, hey, let's keep this only in India, or let's keep this only in this part of India, or this part of America, or this part of America and India. Like you can set it, when Curtis says it's customizable, and that's why we kept harping on that, it truly is whatever you want it to be. I mean, bespoke gets thrown around a lot. I can get a bespoke refrigerator now if I want, but literally whatever you want this to be and go is where it can go. There's no limit. And a lot of things Curtis talked about still in development. That's how we operate. Someone wants something, someone needs something. That's the next solution for us. We had perfectly working software, perfectly working programs. Someone wanted something that did more. That became channel. Someone wanted a version that, man, I don't know that I can spend $2,000 a month, but I sure have all these viewers. That becomes channel plus. So you tell us what you need and we'll make it happen. But we can do that worldwide. We have offices all over the world.
Curtis, this next one's for you is,
okay.
how long does it take to set up a channel, right? I imagine it kind of varies based on what they want to do with with that channel, but is there an average length, or, we saw how simple it was, but is there a time frame also?
There's really not. I mean, it can be, like I said, it could be as simple as minutes, right? And it can be as long as a day or two, depending on the complexity of it could even go a couple of days after that, depending on the complexity of what you want to add in or what you want to bring into the channel. But for a user who wanted to spin up a channel plus that has their content sitting on an external drive sitting at their house, literally it would take minutes, and then the longest time would be the upload of the content to the cloud. And so but as soon as that first piece of media is in there, you can actually start playing it out. So you can set your advanced setting, not even touch the advanced settings, just give the channel a name and an output, and everything else, if you don't need it, to start with, your channel's up within 3 to 5 minutes. Then you upload your first bit of content, and you're actually live to wherever you need it to be within 15 minutes tops.
Cool, thank you. Now we got a question, and I think I can handle this from this regard. And someone's asking about copyright issues when like playing music videos and whatnot. And ultimately that would rely on the person that is creating the content, right? We've seen that with Twitch, we've seen that on YouTube. If you don't have the license to play the music right on these platforms, then you want to make sure that you've secured it properly and things of that nature. So it just depends on, if you have permission from the artist or from the production company or from the word's leaving me right now, the agents or whoever is managing the music, then that would be, this doesn't clear you of music rights and things like that, especially with these big music videos, right? You'd have to make sure that you're cleared in that regards. So I think we got time for about one more question, and somebody's asking, do you have to create new content in order to use channel TVU Channel and TVU Channel Plus? And
no. For example, if I was a PBS channel and I've got an archive of hundreds of hours of Mr. Rogers and I just wanted to create a Mr. Rogers channel, I could upload that content to the cloud and just run a 24/7, 365 Mr. Rogers channel, or Electric Company, or Antiques Roadshow. I'm just using PBS as them as an example, simply because of the fact that they do shows like that. But all groups do a morning show and then maybe a third hour of morning show or a cooking show that may only get one run, or it gets rerun at 6 o'clock on Sunday morning. You could build you could use that content in your own channel as long as you're licensed and you own that content.
We were talking about like a Yuletide, right? You could put on a Yuletide log and have your anchor read books if they're allowed to read, like the public domain books, or if you have the rights to read the books, right? I mean,
we've got one group that plays 3 minutes of their Sky cameras, 3 minutes of the next Sky camera, 3 minutes of the next Sky camera, 3 minutes of the next Sky camera. That's what their schedule is. And so it's whatever you want your channels to do. There's no, it's different than going and spending $1 million on a playout system to be able to do something, simply because of the fact that you got to have it in the rack room. Now I can spin up a channel for the weekend to cover an event in my town, things that you can't do if you don't have the media ports or the storage room, the storage space for it. I can do it, and I'm live and I'm monetizing it as well.
I lied. I want one more question. We're going to do an encore because I think it's so great. So they said they saw a demo with TVU Anywhere for Live, but they're wondering if this also integrates in with TVU Producer, right? And that's the nice thing about TVU, is that everything works with everything. It's Lego blocks that build on top of each other, correct?
Absolutely. I can do it's soup to nuts, but I can take a producer stream. I can use Producer as my control room switcher, my cloud-based control room switcher event, and I can take that output and I can put it as a live source into channel while I'm still playing all of my other VOD content and whatnot. I can take it in as a breaking source. I can take it in as a scheduled live. I can do whatever I want to with it, as long as the producer stream output is active.
And to the Lego point, it all connects together, right? So if you want transcriber, if you want remote commentator, if you want the packs in, if you want, no matter what it is, it all works. There's nothing we have that everything else doesn't work with. which is, you know, sort of unique in tech, right? I certainly in broadcast have bought more than enough things where I then go to that company to buy yet another thing from them, and they're like, that won't work with the other thing you already have.
Yeah, remote commentator.
Which is
I can have two
notorious
people.
in weather machines.
Yeah, remote commentator. I get two people commentating on a game in another country and bring that stream into channel as a live source and schedule it, as long as I have the rights to broadcast the game, you know.
Cool.
That's
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much. Adam, do me a favor. You pop up that QR code one more time for us. Is anyone leaving? So they can scan it. There's also a link in there as well. If your QR code's not working, take a photo of it, then type it in. Also, make sure you guys are on TVUnetworks.com. It's where we're putting a lot of our content, our products, our solutions, our news, our stories, everything related to that. And then kind of a shameless plug also, if you thought me and Adam were just the funniest people and so exciting to talk, we do a TVU Talk is what it's called now on YouTube. It goes about every Monday or Tuesday where we talk about our solutions, kind of give hands-on real world use cases, things of that nature, kind of how we're solving these problems. And we go through our products kind of one by one and show you just how easy it can be, because if me and Adam can work it, then I really think anybody can work it in that regards. So thank you so much for everyone, for the questions, for the time. And on behalf of TVU Networks, we hope to talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Bye.